Howdy folks, better turn that music down before I get a copyright strike. Probably have already. Greetings and welcome, and you want to join me? I'm going to drive Brighton to Eastbourne. Come and join me. This might be a long video, so I'll do the normal thing of putting the timestamps in different ramblings that I talk about, so if you get bored you can skip on to the next one. But yeah, here we are just outside Brighton Marina. I drive, when I have a delivery in Eastbourne, I drive the coast road now because I've got my electric van. I zap up too much of my battery going on the normal A27 route, so I go along the coast so I can drive a bit slower. And to be honest, it's a nicer drive. It's a much nicer drive than just dual carriageway. Into 2 lanes now. I'm going to stick behind this yellow bus because he's doing exactly the same thing as I'm doing. These yellow buses, when they first came out in Brighton, they were on. They used to run on vegetable oil. I kid you not, they did. Now they're fully electric, so he's doing the same thing. He's going to sit in this slow lane and drive at 30 miles an hour and conserve his battery, which is what I'm going to do behind you, mate, so thanks for that. So yeah, I generally take the coast road now because it's a bit slower and it's a bit easier on my battery, but it's a much nicer drive. So we're just coming out of Brighton Marina now towards Rottingdean and Saltdean. What have I got to talk about today? I've always got a plethora of things to talk about. One thing that's forefront in my brain right now, having a few conversations with some people that were watching my latest video, and it's great, you know. I love the fact that I get so many different people watch my videos, and I chat with so many people across the political spectrum. Granted, you know, it's mainly on the left of politics. I do have some people that watch my videos that are on the right, sensible people that can hold a normal, sensible conversation without shouting and Brexit means Brexit. You know the type. You know the type. There are ones on the right that can actually, you know, be adult and sensible and hold a proper conversation, and I've always enjoy talking to people that have different views to my own. But yeah, I guess I kind of have a plethora. It's mainly sort of left-leaning people that watch my videos, and that goes from anti-capitalist communists to, you know, sort of centre-left people, and it's interesting, and I always enjoy talking to people. But I must admit, a couple of comments I had on my last video, and I got engaged in a couple of conversations. I do find a lot of people that swing towards that more anti-capitalist, communist side of the political spectrum. They don't seem to take on board anyone else's opinion, do they? I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Politics. It's opinion. No one's fundamentally right or fundamentally wrong about a topic. You have an opinion on how you feel you'd do things if you're in charge, I guess, is the ultimate, isn't it? But I have found that those that lean further towards the left find it harder to have a conversation about different opinions. They kind of want to shut you down, call you ignorant, call you naive, for maybe having a different opinion, which is a shame. And I think it's one thing that's quite damaging, really, to people on the left of politics, and what a lot of people get a bit angry and upset about when you can't just have a conversation. Main one that's forefront on my mind was basically in my last video. I was talking about conservative, you know, traditional conservative values. If you ask a conservative, someone that classes themselves as conservative, what are your core values? And they'll say stuff like, you know, work ethic, working hard, and things like community and Christian religions and stuff like that. Now, the Tory party, the whole point of my video is the Tory party don't represent that at all. Nothing of the kind. And a lot of people, people that class themselves as conservative will say these are their core values, but what are they actually voting for? They never seem to actually vote for a party that actually has those. And you know, there's a big difference. But I'm babbling. But it would be nice. I think that is one thing that needs to be improved on the left of politics, is you can't force your opinions on other people. They're your opinions. You can sit there and talk about it. But for those comments that I made about conservative values, you know, in my last video, a couple of people said I was ignorant, naive, what are you talking about? But you've got to take on board that everyone wants the same thing in life. You know, we're all looking, basically, that's what politics is, isn't it? How can we make the best of what we've got, and how can we govern most effectively so everyone can be happy? And everyone has a broad, you know, different opinion on how this should be done, from the extremes to the centres to everything. And no one, when you start saying that you're fundamentally right and no one else is, that's when you start causing problems, and that's when you never ever get anything done. You know, you need to have to and fro in politics, and I certainly find it hard to sort of label myself one form of political, you know, I guess I'm a social democrat, I guess. I mean, I believe that capitalism is incredibly flawed, but unfortunately I still think it's the best system out of the worst bunch, you know. So I'm a social democrat, I guess. I believe in capitalism, but I believe that we need to look out for the ones at the bottom as much as we can. So I'm for high tax on the rich, I'm for more social benefits, for nationalisation of railways and transportation, and much more available cheap housing, you know, just making life easier for those poorer people so you don't have to suffer. I guess that's where I am. But what got me in trouble with a lot of people in my last video was where I say that I strongly believe in work ethic, achieving things. It's natural. We've evolved that way from you know, from caveman running all day to catch that that deer, hunting that deer all day, chasing it down. You're working hard, and you've got that achievement at the end, and it's natural. It's human instinct. You can't take that away from us. We're naturally born to achieve our goals, and what I find problematic in a lot of anti-capitalist movements, I don't know what you want to call it. I mean, is it just straight up communism? Is communism back in a big way? Do people actually really think this is a good idea? Like I say, it's all opinion. I'm not saying I'm fundamentally right, but I always just think that those styles, anti-capitalism and communism, they're always striving for some sort of utopia that can just never ever be achieved. I feel it's in our human nature to be selfish, to be greedy. People are going to be doing the survival of the fittest form. It's inbuilt in us. We've evolved that way. And I don't think you can ever take that away from human beings. Human beings are always going to be selfish. And people are always going to try and rise above and stamp on everyone else. I think the best we can do is live in a capitalist society where we just try our absolute best to level the playing field as much as possible, because I don't even know what a system looks like that isn't capitalist, really. Other than communism. I mean, communism is everything is held by the state and it's shared, and it just never works, does it? Wherever it's been tried, it just never seems to work, because you're always going to have greed. You're always going to have someone at the top that ends up being selfish, and you need wealth motivation to get things done. You know, why would I become a doctor where I'm working 14-hour shifts in insanely stressful situations if I'm getting paid the same as the cleaner that just goes in, clocks in, cleans and goes out and has no stress? There's no strive. kind of rambling a little bit now, but I'm always open to ideas, always open to ideas, and I'd love to hear. I love hearing people talk. You know, if you want to talk to me about your system that's not communism, that's anti-capitalism, that's going to be great for the world, I'm all ears. I'd love to hear. But in my limited knowledge, from what I've found out from life, I think what you call a social democratic system is the way. I guess the sort of, you know, Scandinavian way of governing. But even that can be flawed as well, because the Scandinavian countries, they're just built on wealth anyway, aren't they? I mean, I guess Norway is like your best way of governing, in my opinion. They're built on wealth, on oil wealth, and they have that wealth in reserve. So, you know, they're able to be ultra generous in their benefit. Sorry, you're going to hear me cough every now and again. I've still got this bloody cough that I had in my last video. But, you know, that would be my ultimate. But you need the wealth behind you, which brings me basically on to my biggest gripe against Brexit. Really, if we're going to solve all the problems in this country, we need to be a wealthy country, and Brexit's not making us a wealthy country. So that is my biggest gripe about Brexit, really, and why it still frustrates me so much. You know, so many people say, you've got to let Brexit go, man, it's done. You know, you've got to let it go. Why bother about it? We're not going to move on as a society if we can't. If we're constantly taking 2 steps back and 1 step forward every single year. How are we going to sort out homelessness? How are we going to sort out the housing crisis? How are we going to sort out all these problems? It's not going to work. So we've just gone through Peacehaven. We're just coming into Newhaven Harbour now. Newhaven's a funny little town on the side here. It's a nice little town, Newhaven. It's kind of full of loads of Brighton descendants that can't afford to live in Brighton anymore, move to Newhaven. But also, because doing the job that I do, I get to know the demographic of all areas, because I deliver to every different area. Every day I see different people from those areas, and I kind of get a feel for who lives in what areas. And Newhaven is, like I say, it's full of a lot of people that can't afford to live in Brighton anymore, but also a lot of people that have come down from London, and not so much out of their own choice. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the old, what do they call it, gentrification, where basically all the poor residents of London are just being forced out, and they're moving down south, and you can tell they're not happy to be here. You know, they've moved away from their friends, their family, the people they know, the environment that they lived in all their life, and they live in this small, strange little coastal town of Newhaven, and you can tell they're not happy. And it's not a good thing, is it? It's happening in so many cities across the world. You know, you hear the same stories in Brooklyn and New York. The soul is being taken out of these towns, because whether you like it or not, the working class, the poor people in cities, yeah, they're the ones that are making the good music. They're the ones that are bringing the culture, the good food, all these things. These posh twats that are paying £4 a month for their skyline flat in London, they ain't got no culture. They ain't bringing the culture. So the culture's been pushed out of London, and that's where it comes from, the East End of London. It's where my dad's from. It's where that side of my family are from. But it's happening. I recently started watching, those of you might know, I'm a massive fan of the show The Wire, and the creator of The Wire, David Simon, done a show called Treme. I've only just started watching it, and it's really good. It's all about Treme, which is New Orleans after the Hurricane Katrina, where basically this is happening. They're trying to push the heart and soul out of New Orleans and start again, basically, after the hurricane. So everyone's being pushed out to Texas, Austin, and they basically just want to flatten the whole lot and start again with a brand new city. But you're taking the heart and soul out of it, especially somewhere like New Orleans. You know, New Orleans is all about the music, jazz, the blues. You know, it's got so much cultural history, and just to push all that out is it's criminal. It's criminal. I'm only on the second season of this show, but it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, this is New Haven here, New Haven Harbour. You can get a ferry to Dieppe in France from here. I've never done it. Whenever I've gone to France, I've always gone to the Eurotunnel, but I've never got a ferry. But you can do that. I should probably look into that sometime, actually. But yeah, New Haven Harbour. But yeah, New Haven's funny town. It's nice. It's picturesque in parts. Nice countryside. You've got the downs just there as well. But yeah, for me, it's full of a lot of unhappy people, a lot of unhappy Londoners that don't really want to be here and not here out of choice. And also a lot of unhappy Brightonians that don't really want to be living over here, but they can't afford the rent in Brighton anymore. Because rent in Brighton is pretty much the same. It's getting close to London now. It really is. I mean, lucky enough, me and my wife, we own a house. We bought it about 5 years ago, I guess. Whether I've done the right thing or not, I don't know, but that was bought with us working night shifts. My wife's a nurse. I used to work, I was a manager at Primark. That was my job before I decided to become a van driver. We done night shifts because it allowed us, with our son, to be able to both work full time. So we'd work nights, so before we go to work of night, we'd take our son round to the mother-in-law's, who would just give him a bed for the night. You know, it's much easier to get childcare at night where mother-in-law, you know, pop round mother-in-law, your son's here, go to bed, just give him a bed for the night. It's no hassle, rather than trying to find someone to look after him during the day. So yeah, we'd sleep, you know, while he's at school, and it allowed us to work full time, but it did have its pressures. Working night shift is not nice on the body. You know, when it does come to your day off and you want to spend time with your son, you're tired. But we worked hard. We done the night shifts, and we saved up, and we managed to buy a house. Like I say, whether that was the right thing to do, whether we missed out on maybe some of his childhood growing up, I don't know. But that's what we did. But if we hadn't have bought a house, you know, we wouldn't be able to rent in Brighton now. It's crazy. I mean, what, for a 2-bedroom place now, you're looking at about 1,300 a month before bills. It's insane. It's crazy. But yeah, that's what I've done for well, I've done various jobs over the years. But yeah, Primark. I used to do the night shifts, but they used to call me to do new store openings. So I used to do quite a lot of travelling across the country. During the London Olympics in 2012, I was opening the Stratford Primark there, and yeah, it was bloody hard work. Those of you that know Primark, I mean, those viewers over on the continent there, you've got Primark over there as well in a lot of cities, but that is one hell of an insane place to work. It's so fast paced, and I kind of experienced what a lot of people are experiencing now with the pandemic, and especially over in America, where we're seeing vast swathes of people quit their jobs. I find this topic so fascinating because I was kind of a bit early with this. I kind of started this a lot earlier. I just got sick and tired of the stress, the constant working for a boss, giving them your blood, sweat and tears, and it never being good enough, and never getting praise, and always being demanded more and more and more. And I got fed up with it in the end, and eventually when I finally put that deposit down on a house and managed to get a mortgage on the house, I said, enough's enough, I'm not doing it anymore. Because that's what it was all about, just getting that deposit on a house. And as soon as I got that, I thought, I'm not doing it. I'm going to buy a van and I'm going to do deliveries. I don't want that pressure of sales targets and 3,000 boxes entering the Primark store at night and they have to all be gone by the day, and I just didn't want that anymore. So I bought a van, and first of all I worked for Amazon for a couple of weeks, and yeah, a couple of weeks was all I could do, because oh my god, that job was insane. That was worse than my job at Primark. Oh my god, delivering for Amazon, absolutely insane job. Well, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. Anyway, I don't want to go into that job because I didn't last very long at that. I couldn't do it, and I was just in that predicament then. I was like, oh shoot, what should I do? So I sort of done a few sort of removal type jobs, and then I just started up my own furniture business, buying and selling second-hand furniture. There's a big need for it in Brighton. With Brighton is a very student town. There's students constantly moving house, looking for cheap furniture, sofas, wardrobes, chest of drawers, that sort of thing. And yeah, I kind of fell into it, but I completely understand what people are going through with the big resignation that's happening at the moment. You know, people have just had enough. They've had enough of this. We need to be fairer on folks. We can't just keep trying to. Can't keep trying to just get blood from a stone every single day. So this is Seaford, little town of Seaford, next to New Haven. This is posher. This is a lot posher than New Haven around here. A lot bigger houses. There's a lot more money around in Seaford. This is more your retirement home for the rich around here, Seaford. And also Peacehaven that we passed before is a little bit like that in certain areas. But yeah, Seaford, New Haven, like I say, is more the sort of poor folks that can't afford to live in Brighton or London move to New Haven. And Seaford's definitely, yeah, your rich retirement place. Some of these houses are massive around here. A lot of you folks still asking about how the van's going, the electric van. I'm happy. It drives beautifully. I can't say anything wrong about the van itself. But it's just these energy prices that have really screwed me. If I'd had this van about 4 months earlier and I could have got on a cheap nightly electric tariff, then I'd be happy. But this is what really concerns me this year, is the energy prices going up. This is really going to hit me. I'm quite worried about this. I really am. You know, me, let alone the people that are a little bit tighter on the budget than I am, that are really, really going to suffer. But I'm concerned about these energy prices, and we know that obviously, you know, Brexit is a factor in this, because we're not being hit as hard as the guys on the continent, because in the EU you've got much better bargaining powers with the energy prices. We know this. We're just little England now, and we have to be in the hard competitive market to get cheaper prices, and we can't do it. So Brexit is a factor. Of course it is. Of course it is. If you look into it, of course it is. But the main factor really that's driving this is just demand. Absolute huge demand for energy. And because, you know me, I'm all for the environment and getting those emissions down. But are we going a bit too quick? Is the demand for electric now seems to be too much, with more and more people like myself getting electric vehicles, new homes now that are not getting gas, they're all getting electric heating. You know, there's just far more demand for electric and we can't keep up with it. I mean, I guess overall this is a good thing really, isn't it? You know, maybe we are going too quick, but you know, if we're going to so quick and the demand is so high, that's going to speed us up in getting more and more renewable energies. We need renewables, and we need them fast, and the infrastructure's not quite there yet, is it, to cope? So that's the main driver for these energy prices going up, because we have to still rely on other countries. Here we are on the South Downs now. Beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful around here. Love this part. This is what I love about England. Beautiful South Downs. Absolutely beautiful. But yeah, the demand is just so high right now, and we're relying on foreign countries. We're still relying on that gas. We need to push for as much renewable in this country as possible, and I see Farage still is he's not happy with wrecking England. Farage, he wants to wreck the whole planet. He's not happy about he wants to move on to the whole planet now, so he's still pushing the agenda for these wind farms, isn't he, that they're absolute rubbish and they're going to be rotting in 10 years time, all this nonsense. What is it with this guy, man? Farage, why can't he just leave us the fuck alone? Just piss off somewhere, please. Just go away and leave us alone. But no, he's not happy with wrecking the UK. He needs to wreck the entire world now as well. So yeah, he's still pushing the agenda. I think maybe because the guy wants to be relevant, right? But he knows he can't talk about Brexit, really. I mean, he mentions it here and there, but he's very, very sharp to change the subject. Whenever I've seen him on one of his GB News videos, it'll be with a Conservative MP or something. It's Seven Sisters Country Park here, gorgeous. Yeah, it'll be with one of his Conservative MPs, and he'll say, well, Brexit's not going too great, but obviously that's the fault of Boris Johnson and the Conservatives, and then he'll quickly change subject. He doesn't want to talk about it anymore. So that's why he's on about this climate change stuff now, because he just needs to be relevant, and he can't be relevant with Brexit anymore because it's a disaster, and he knows it's a disaster. So he wants to push this no wind farm agenda. He reckons they're all going to be rusting in the sea within 10 years time. I don't know why. I mean, I know they have to be maintained, but you know, if we're getting electric from them, then we'll maintain them. They're obviously important, so we'll look after them. But mate, I'm all for just put them everywhere. Put them everywhere you can. Every single place that you can put them, put them. If it means that I don't have to pay bloody £200-300 a month for my electricity, and we're going to be not burning coal or burning gas or whatever nasty stuff that we're going to be doing, just do it. Put them everywhere you can. Yes, I know they don't work when the wind doesn't blow, but when the wind does blow, double the amount of electricity you get. Just get them up. Wave, whatever, wave, tidal, all that good stuff. When it comes to nuclear, I'm just, it doesn't sound right to me, but I really can't comment properly. I haven't researched it enough to know really whether it's safe, so I can't really comment on nuclear. But yeah, whatever this country has to do to get rid of that Russian gas for our electricity supply, we can't be relying on the bloody Russians, man. We really can't, especially with what they're up to at the moment. Did anyone watch the other YouTube channel PoliticalX's video on the Russian involvement in Brexit? It's really, really good. I remember, I'll put a link down in the description down below. It really, really opened my eyes. I mean, there's so many different factors to Brexit, of who gained from it, and the Farage angle, and just simply Boris Johnson gaining from being Prime Minister from it. But the Russian angle is it's so obvious when the facts get presented with. Like I say, if you haven't watched it, watch PoliticalX's video on the Russian involvement in Brexit. It really is an eye-opener. There's so many dodgy deals between Conservative MPs and Russian businesses that it's too much. And I don't know, it's just not publicised enough, is it? People don't know enough about it. But how can anyone accept that? If you voted for Brexit and you find out that there was just so much Russian involvement in the election on pushing the result, you know, how can you handle that? You can't. That's a nice view of Eastbourne there across there. But I guess that's the thing, isn't it? It seems conspiratorial, doesn't it? It seems like, oh, what are you talking about? Russian involvement, conspiracy theories, but you know, I hate conspiracy theories most of the time, because usually they are nonsense. Usually they're flat earth or they're some rubbish like that. But when you have enough facts, it's not a conspiracy theory, is it? When you've just got too many facts in front of you, it can't be classed as a conspiracy theory. It can't. And like I say, just some of the stuff that PoliticalX shows in these videos is it's too much. It's too much. All the pieces coming together for Brexit. Like I say, it always still amazes me that we manage, after all this influence, Russian influence and all the rest, that we still manage to get 48% people vote Remain. So we're not completely damaged in this country. You know, we're still not completely gullible to all this nonsense. But anyway, here we are in Eastbourne. So thanks for joining me. If you watched till the end, let me know if you like these videos, these long videos. You know, I thought it might just be fun. I guess it's more for me really, just to make my journey to my longer journeys a little bit more enjoyable. I can just sit here and talk to you guys. But let me know if you like these longer videos. Also, I'll still do the shorter ones on specific topics. But yeah, sometimes I just like to just sit here and ramble. Let me know. Take care, guys. Till next time. I think my destination is just around the corner, eh?